read?
I couldn't tell you. I don't know how long that's been around or which ones have.
When did they first put in radio reads? They were here when I moved back.
Mr. Active Mayor, may I make a recommendation of just an active breakdown of like actual reads, just for your townspeople to see what is actually being read and what is actually being owed and what is being determined to be their debt as well, not just the debt to the town. Does that make sense?
You mean as far as the meters?
Correct, like if it just were a better well-read perspective for, it's a small town.
Like on
Yeah.
the bill you get monthly, is that what you're saying, or what this would cost each person?
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah, I believe the cost that I was charged was about $180.
But what does that break down into? And there was like a water break.
No, that's the cost of the meter.
That's just the meter.
That's just the cost of the meter.
Okay.
And
But I
they,
think a lot of townspeople saw that as something that was going to cost them something individually, but to show them that that's not their actual cost would help them understand that like the town is not trying to hurt them,
yes,
if that makes sense.
that's why we would try to break it down into some smaller increments if we decided to do that. And how we would pay back, I don't know.
Your ordinance states 3 months for a breakdown in that payment,
So
but
quarterly.
you could stretch that out into, so many months, $10 a month or whatever, and, because, okay, here's the situation that I'm kinda understanding this from, and you guys, you're the ones that did it. You were implemented to do this,
Right.
and these people didn't have a choice. Is kinda what I'm getting.
Which would make sense, because it
Okay.
doesn't work, I go change it.
Were they working or not working?
Not working.
If they're not working, then you have to have a viable meter, and it's not against their deal, they have to have a viable meter. And you tell them they weren't working, they have to have a viable meter, they're to do like everybody else in town, and there's a number of people that have had to pay for them. If you wanna break them down into 10 months, you break it down into 10 months. But, I mean, that's even more than fair.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that would,
I'm honestly just trying to play devil's advocate with you here, like, to see the other side of it from how people are gonna take it from that
Yes, definitely.
perspective.
I mean, we've already got some of the highest water bills in the state, so.
Correct, but why? And that's what your townspeople are asking.
Why?
Yeah.
We had to, when DEQ came in and said you fix it, or they fix it, and then we had to prove that we were able to bring in enough money to pay the bills.
Correct.
So we had to raise the water sewer.
Making
rates.
that a little bit more public, I think would help your argument there.
Probably.
I think everybody's aware of why we
That
raised
was
the
years
rates.
ago.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
But
Yeah.
it's still funneling back. to
We don't, I don't care.
Well,
I don't
it's
even
probably-
live in Fromberg anymore, they
Okay.
hear it, so.
Good point. Jeff?
So if the town ends up charging for a meter replacement to the resident, and there's meter failure from that point on, assuming everybody in town has a new meter they paid for, at that point, who's responsible for meter replacement?
That would be the town.
Okay. That's what I assumed.
That'd be good.
That would be something that better be on the
Hard.
the
Wait a
paper.
minute, guys.
That have to be.
That'd be nice.
hard.
Wait a minute, I really wouldn't say that, because if their meter freezes up and it breaks or something like that, it's always been, what my understanding was the last time is if your meter breaks down, you guys do have a certain capacity to fix the new radial reads, correct?
Certain parts of it, yeah.
Yeah, those could be
There's-
taken to the shop and rebooted. But my understanding was always, you know, if your house freezes up and your meter freezes up and it busts, that's on you, it's not on the town.
Due to negligence.
Or
Yeah,
just an accidental deal, it's still on you,
If
it's
it
not.
breaks, the city always replaced them.
And then
That's
you
the
get into
understanding.
the issue whether the meter is on your property or on the city's property. I mean, all of that factors in as well, does it not?
That factors in.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, and I'm not trying to be, I mean, I would like to tell you you're gonna pay for mine if something breaks down tomorrow, but your ordinances should cover that stuff, and they do pretty well. Or what was getting written was that way.
so do you guys wanna table this and get more discussion going?
Hey Jay, if you could, like within the next month, just kind of pick at it, get the total amount that we need to replace to go to radio reads townwide. Because that's the other thing, is if we're gonna do this, we're gonna have to front this out of pocket, I mean. that could be
You know what the
decent.
number is.
Yeah, but at least that way we know where we're sitting. Or if we break it down into zones to kind of give people a heads up, saying, okay, Q4 of 2022, you're gonna see it, kind of prep, and then we stretch it out, like Tammy's saying, at least to give a warning and know where we're sitting, rather than just a lump sum of 50 grand. And then we're sitting there eating it, and we're getting paid back a nickel at a time.
And if I'm correct, Joliet still doesn't have all radio reads, cause the one in the school where I used to clean is the old timer, and they've never, you know,
I can look into that and see. I think we're mostly on radio read now,
And moving towards it.
and definitely moving towards that, and we could probably help with figuring out what the cost would be.
Okay, well, that would be great, that would be great.
Are they similar meters?
Yeah,
So,
oh,
same,
yeah,
that would be
they're-
good.
yeah.
I think Conference are a lot older, but.
I'm sure every close.
Yeah,
Okay.
yes.
Sundial.
Yes, go ahead.
If memory serves correct, Julie Jones was on council here and wrote the original grant for the original meters. She might have some good knowledge and information. And on the lighter side, the water's been screwed up in Spronger for like 60 years, so,
The original meters were put in the 70s.
yeah.
Okay.
And it was a grant though, I believe, and I don't know if that ever got paid off or whatever happened to that, or I don't know if that was the case. I'm just saying it was some old history, but she might have some knowledge.
She might. If I get a chance, I'll
That would
talk to her
help.
about
Somebody moved here from California.
it. Okay.
That's the way it was done there.
Jay, anything else?
That I can think of. Not now.
Not now.
You made different
Okay.
things.
Fine.
I don't know.
I will turn the time over now to the town clerk. Or, it's just-
Temporary town
Yes.
clerk is how I've been referring to myself in the minutes. Yeah, really, I would just answer any questions that you have. I don't really have anything to report. I came on the first, and I mean, obviously I've been coming on and off for a while, but I have not been here since, I think maybe May or June of 2020 until January 1st, right after Tim called me, after Janet left. So really, I would just answer any questions that I could answer for you. If you had questions about the reports or the budget numbers or anything like that, I can try and answer that.
What about hours at City Hall? Gonna be open? Or are we still temporarily closed?
Still closed. We do not have a
Permanent?
permanent clerk.
Yeah, I am full-time in Bridger, so
Yeah, I
I'm
know.
mostly doing
I'm
this
glad.
in evenings and weekends.
And we're taking applications, Randy.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that, no, I was just curious if she, when you said you were here the first, if you were in the office at all. I just need something faxed.
That was a government holiday, the first, so I was off in Bridger, so I came and worked here, is why I was here on the
Good
first.
for you. Working day off.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Anything else? The next item on the agenda is mayor and council time. First off, I would like to thank the mayor of Joliet for coming over and moral support. I really appreciate that.
Thank you.
I went over when Jan put in her resignation, and Shirley had put in her resignation first. And then Jan put in her resignation. And being the president of the council, at that point, if I'd have had any hair, I'd have pulled it out. Because it's a lot to all of a sudden just step into and think about. Because the town of Fromberg has had issues for many, many years. And everybody here, I'm not a politician. I am just not. I deal in facts. I was a reserve deputy with the sheriff's department. They deal in facts, and that's kind of been my history in law enforcement. So that's kind of how I deal. For me to just step into this, because and I gotta say that Shirley did a good job. Shirley had and has some really good ideas for the town of Fromberg. But there was a kind of a problem trying to get these things to come to reality. And Shirley's health got in the way. So she had to resign. And then Jan, who did a very good job, she really had her work cut out for her. Because when Jan came on, as you know, we were in the middle of a disaster. And we took her from the frying pan and we threw her into the fire. And it was hard for Jan to keep up. And that's when Kristen came and Amber, they helped so that Jan could just keep things afloat. And then it got to be too much for Jan. And I hated to see her go, but she did. And so now we are looking for letters of intent for the mayor. I'm gonna put in one, but it's only gonna be for this year. I'm getting too old to struggle with the struggles of politics of this. So, and we're looking for a clerk. Now, the plan that I would like to see is, I would like our office in there to be straightened up. We cannot expect to bring somebody in to work as a clerk in this office when it's a disaster.
Amen.
We're working towards getting, and nothing against Jan, because she did her best. And so when she left, then that left us where we have to pick up from that point and go forward, which means that we have reports that need to get done, we have bills that need to get paid. And when the reality came to me that I was the one that was going to be responsible, so I went to the people that have been doing it. I talked to the mayor of Joliet and his clerk. And Dakota is a good mayor over there. And I've heard nothing but praise about how you do your job. So I went seeking advice on should I run or try to stick this out and try to make this a better place. And I decided I want to try to make this a better place. Because when I was a kid, growing up here, the cars just lined the streets. You know, this was a town to go to.
Tim, this is turning into an interview for mayor. That's
Well,
what we're
maybe
here
somebody
for.
will come in. But I'm glad that the town of Joliet and the town of Bridger, you know, and Kristen has stepped up to do a lot of this work. And it's not on their time, not on their city time. This is all extra time that their clerks are willing to help us to do this. And
We appreciate it.
and we really appreciate it, yes. Saves our bacon. And it kind of will give us time to get the office in order so that we can hire a clerk and have her being trained properly so that she can do her job. Or him, whoever, and that would give us time to pick somebody. So, and the town does have issues. I'm not gonna tell you anything different. We do have some problems. And as a council here, I think that you guys, the public, if they wanna talk to them, call them up, call us up, talk to us. Let us know what your concerns are, so that we can communicate with you. I think that's key, communication, openness. We're not gonna be doing anything behind closed doors here, because it has to be open. When we close the doors, you guys got questions, and that's not the way to do business. So, there's a lot of things that we're gonna be working on. What are some of the things we have prioritized to get done? We have to get a clerk. We have to have a good set of rules. They're just things that have to fall into place to do it. So, you guys have anything?
So to reiterate, what Tim was saying is that anybody in the town that's lived here for 2 years is eligible to put in a letter of intent to run for the mayor. Tim is gonna fill in for, what, 30 days?
I fill in for 30 days,
And then we would really like to have a fistful of applications or letters of intent. I'd like to see 20 of them. I know we won't get them, but I'd like to see them. Anybody that is interested in bettering our community should at least consider it.
because
At the end of that 30 days, then the town council will appoint a mayor to fill that position until Shirley's term would be expired.
This year.
And then another vote, so it's not gonna be a long term, but it's gonna be a term anyway.
Yeah.
And then if Tim ends up being appointed to the mayor, we're gonna need a council member as well. Or not as well, but instead of the mayor, so. That's a position that should be considered as well. That's all I have.
any questions?
Are you guys, now, you said you'd talk about this when it got to this point, but this is my point.
This is,
My point is, it's not on your ordinances as it stands now that you elect a president. It is under state law, but it is not on your ordinances. It is not on your ordinances that there's a plan in place, you know? Like I said, a lot of this could have been avoided and you'd had an acting mayor tonight.
We have,
Yeah,
Jim
but
is
I'm
the
saying
acting
it
mayor.
would have been a permanent deal when the first resignation went in 30 days. That's how-
No, state law, Montana code dictates that the
Exactly.
council president takes over for
Even if
30
we can have
days.
something
And
different.
in that time, you take letters of interest and someone is appointed by majority vote of the council within 30 days.
So we're doing
It
it
was
right.
So
just-
we're actually
okay,
following
okay. Well,
Montana
it's just
code
what
to a
Baker
letter.
had on their attorney's deal, how they had it set up in their deal, so that's what I had read.
Yeah, I don't know, I can't
all
speak
that
to what
reverts
Baker
back
has,
to
but
the state, right? It all reverts back to the state.
Yeah,
Yes.
This is
Yeah.
what Montana code
Yeah.
states as far as filling a vacancy,
Mhm.
and it is the advice given by local government center as well as the legal
Okay.
cities and towns.
Okay. No, theirs was just set up, that the resignation was there, they had their deal. It wasn't that they had, but once the mayor was out, they had already had that vote in, is how they said it.
And maybe they had more time to plan, so that's how it worked, I don't know, I
Okay.
can't speak to that,
Okay.
but I know that this follows Montana code.
And Tim was acting mayor at 12:01 on the 1st.
Mhm.
And when was her resignation turned in? It was effective on the 31st.
I think it was 2 to 3 weeks before the end of the month.
Okay.
I don't recall the exact date.
No,
But
And then Jan, when was her resignation turned in?
December 14th was what this sheet shows.
and her last day was the 23rd.
Yeah.
Okay. So if anybody has a desire to be mayor, put a letter of intent in. And once we get a mayor, then we'll have, hopefully, if I'm picked, then we'll have a spot for council person. And I would like to let everybody in the community know that everybody is working hard to try to get the issues resolved in from. It just makes better communities when everybody is working together. And I can tell you, I'm just really proud that Joliet and Bridger both have offered support and help. Because that's what I went to them and asked for, because, you know, what's the first things I really need to be thinking about or doing? And, you know, I was taking notes as they were telling me, so it was good. It really eased my mind. Not that it's got 400 other things going on in it, but anyway, I would like to thank everybody for their support. And actually, when I called the group this morning, the water board, Montana Rural Water Systems, they offered to send down a member of their staff to help. So
Pretty nice of them.
it was really nice. At the state level, they would be offering to do whatever they could. However, I've had assurances from Kristen and Amber that we're in good hands. So, even though the office is gonna stay closed until we get a clerk, if there's an emergency out there that you have to talk to somebody about other than water-related things, you can call and talk to me and I'll try to help you. If it's an emergency for water, sewer-related things, you need to talk to Jay. He's the guy in charge of that. There's no sense in trying to call me and then I call him, or you could call him and just get it done.
And all of our numbers are on the front
Yes.
of the building. We can all be reached.
So, we have things pretty well covered, I believe.
So
Yes.
There was a question.
This gentleman that was here tonight sharing the audit for 2018 audit, is he doing the 19 and then start into the 20?
They were the ones that declined. We had a bid from them, it was Whipley, and then they declined.
Okay, so you got somebody else
Yes.
contracted?
Yes, we've
Yes.
already,
Are they working on it?
yeah.
I spoke to them today and they're sending paperwork.
Okay.
That's in the works.
That's in the works. So even though our audits are way back,
Yeah.
we had to, I guess they just had to pick a point somewhere and just say, draw the line in the sand, we're gonna go from here to here. So, anyway, any other questions, anything else I might be able to help some of them?
Make a motion to adjourn.
So, meeting date, did we change that meeting date? Does that take effect,
No.
or are we still Monday?
No, still Monday.
Yeah.
Okay.
I spoke with the attorneys on it and
So
We're
February
still-
what?
So it'd be February 1st then.
First?
yes, we're gonna
Can
have
we send
to,
this around again? It looks like we're missing somebody. I can't tell who.
Okay, now I make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
okay, we have a motion and a second to adjourn, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Yeah, no problem. Yeah, I'll take care of this.